You just got yourself a roll or a sheet of Siser heat transfer vinyl from your authorized Siser distributor or reseller. What happens next? Firstly, it's very important to know which Siser HTV you have and how to properly use it. Your Siser distributor or reseller may have provided information about the product and how to use it, but if they didn't, that's okay. We're here to help. You can always refer to the Siser app, which is free for your phone or tablet, or you can always visit us at SiserNA.com. The roll or the sheet of your Siser heat transfer vinyl has two different sides to it. It's very important to know which side is the side you're going to be cutting on and which side is the finished side. The finished side contains the carrier sheet. This may appear a little bit shinier or glossy. The opposite side is the adhesive side for the heat transfer vinyl. This is the side you're going to. It's time to set our desktop vinyl cutter up so we can start cutting our Siser HTV. Here I have a couple examples of vinyl cutters. You may have a different one and that's okay. Siser HTV can be cut on any of them. Your vinyl cutter will also come with the software for you to set up your cut files. It may be a program that is downloaded to your computer or it may be a website-based software. These vinyl cutters simply connect to your computer through USB. Or in some cases, they also offer Bluetooth connection. If you are brand new to this, it is important for you to know that you need vector shapes in order to cut your Siser HTV. The software will allow you to create your own artwork, and they may allow you to purchase pre-made artwork. When you have your vector design created and sized, now we are almost ready to cut our Siser. When loading your Siser HTV onto the mat of your vinyl cutter, it is important to know which side needs to go down onto the mat and which side faces up for cutting. Now, if you have a vinyl cutter that doesn't require a mat, it is still important to know which side of your Siser HTV is facing up and which side goes down. An easy way to tell is number one, again, when the packaging comes, the inside you see is the carrier side. That is the side that goes down on your vinyl cutter or down on your mat. Another way you can check is by taking your Siser weeder and piercing the corner of your sheet of Siser HTV and peeling it back. Next, you're going to want to perform a test cut. This is going to ensure you have your blade depth, force, and speed set appropriately so you avoid ruining or wasting your material. The tech sheet on your roll of Siser HTV comes with a QR code. The QR code will access the Siser app that has recommended cut settings for various vinyl cutters. This is a great starting point, but you may have to make some adjustments depending on the condition of your vinyl cutter or the blade. Once you have the settings in your software, you're going to send a test cut to your cutter. Some vinyl cutters have a test cut button and some don't. For those that don't, you just need to create a small shape about 1/2 inch in size. The test cut is going to cut a small piece of material. You'll take your Siser weeder and remove the cut piece. You want to make sure the piece removed evenly and consistently without snagging or uneven cut. Use your best judgment. If it didn't cut nicely with the recommended settings, go back and make small adjustments to the force. If you see it cutting into the carrier sheet, you will need to dial your force back. If you see it not cutting all the way through the heat transfer vinyl, you will need to increase your force. Keep performing test cuts until you know you have it set correctly. Last thing to remember is to mirror your design when sending it to your vinyl cutter. This step sometimes gets forgotten, and it is a very crucial step when cutting Siser HTV. The Siser HTV is cut. The next step is called the weeding process. The weeding process is where you remove the negative material or the cavities that you don't want on your transfer. Before we do that, I'm going to cut my scrap pieces of HTV that can be saved. Make sure you save your scraps, folks. The tools I recommend for this process are the Siser weeder. The Siser weeder has a sharp curved tip that will allow you to target and remove cavities quickly. It also has a comfortable rubber grip. Or you can use the Siser tweezers, which are great for very detailed designs. Siser HTV is already incredibly easy to weed, hence the name like Easy Weed, but I want to talk about a couple tips and tricks to make your weeding process even easier. I'm a fan of removing cavities inside the design first and then removing the outside excess, but you can do it however you like. When working with any of the Siser Easy Weed family, so Easy Weed Stretch, Easy Weed Glow in the Dark, or Easy Weed Electric, they all have a sticky carrier, which comes in handy in case you remove anything important by accident. You can lay it back down. For those that have a heat press at home, here's a great trick you can do when weeding any of the Siser Easy Weed family. Have your heat press set to 305 degrees Fahrenheit. When it heats up, you will close the heat press on the lower platen for about 8 to 10 seconds. Now you'll take your cut piece of Easy Weed and lay it on the warmed up lower platen. Now when you weed your excess, it's basically falling right off. Super simple. When weeding Siser Glitter, Siser Strip Lock Pro, or Siser Holographic, sometimes seeing the cut lines can be challenging. A good trick is what I call the reverse roll. Curl your cut sheet to where you can see the cut line appear on your carrier sheet. This can help find some of your cavities quicker. That's all it takes to weed your The application portion of working with Siser HTV is my favorite part. It's the final step and it's where you get to see your creativity come to life. But it is very important to do this process correctly. Although this step is easy to do, I want to make sure you're doing it properly. Refer to the Siser tech sheet or the Siser app for the application settings you will need for which Siser HTV you are using. In this case, I'm using Siser Easy Weed, Siser Glitter, and Siser Holographic. You can apply Siser HTV simply with a home iron or a heat press if you have one. I'm going to show you how to properly apply for both. With the home iron, you want to make sure you're using a hard flat surface that will not get damaged. We don't recommend using an ironing board, but if you don't have a flat surface like this, I would recommend using something like a wood cutting board. Next, you want to make sure you have your iron dialed into the appropriate setting, which is usually between the cotton and linen setting. Make sure you don't have any water in your iron. You want to avoid using any kind of moisture or steam. Once the iron is heated up, you want to pre-press the area you are applying on. This is going to take out the wrinkles and moisture in the garment. Lay your transfer onto the garment with the carrier side facing up. Now you can see why we mirrored our cut file. Tip for finding the placement on your shirt is the 3 to 4 finger rule from the collar. Use a piece of parchment paper as a cover sheet and lay it on top. Folks, here's where I cannot stress it enough. Even solid pressure is super important for the application process. Avoid ironing your transfer like you would iron out wrinkles. Start at one point in your transfer, use some pressure, and hold the iron down for 10 to 15 seconds. Then step and repeat throughout the entire transfer. Then you're going to peel the carrier hot. Be sure to look at the tech sheet of whichever Siser HTV you're using to see whether it is a hot or cold peel. I have to stress these steps because I want you to have a successful application with your Siser HTV wash after wash. Now I'm going to apply with a heat press. If you have a heat press, set your temperature and time on your display. Set your pressure by increasing or decreasing the pressure knob. You want to make sure you feel some resistance when you're closing your heat press. You want to pre-press your garment for a few seconds. Lay your transfer down on your garment, cover it with parchment paper, and press for 10 to 15 seconds. Hot or cold peel. Both ways of applying Siser HTV are effective. As you can see, you get great results with either. That's all it takes to apply your transfer. Be sure to stick around for the next video where I show you how to apply layers of Siser HTV and mixing Siser HTV.